Guys, in the last session, we understood what is a block and how many types of blocks available in Java. What is a block? A piece of code which we want to execute. So like this, it will represent one block. So there are two types of blocks available in the Java. One is called instance block and the second one is called static block. So if you want to execute any code when the object is created, then we will go for instance block. If you want to execute some piece of code when object is created, then we can go for instance block. Instance block will be executed before constructor execution. What is the static block? If you want to execute some piece of code when class is loaded into JVM, then we can go for static block. Static block will execute before main method execution. All right. We discussed about what is the static control flow and what is instance control flow. Perfect. Then after we discussed about what is object class. Can you tell me what is object class? Object is a predefined class available in java.lang package. That is a default superclass for every class in the Java. Default superclass for every class in the Java, either directly or indirectly. If your class does not have any superclass, then object class will become direct super. If your class is having any superclass, object will become indirect superclass. In the object class, there are 11 methods available. What are those 11 methods? Clone method, equals method, finalize method, get class method, hashcode method, toString method, notify, notify all, wait, wait is a overloaded method. The last 5 methods will be used in the multi-threading concept. The first 6 methods are very generic methods that we are going to use. So let us try to understand what is the purpose of these methods. Guys, give me 2 minutes. I will be back. Yeah. Hi guys. Good. So we are trying to understand. All right. So we are trying to understand what is object class and what are the methods available in the object class. So in the object class, there are total 11 methods available. Those methods are predefined methods, and those methods will be available for all the classes in the Java, because object class is default superclass for all. Every class can access those methods. First, let us see what is toString method. What is toString method? The return type of toString method is string. The return type of toString method is string. It is used to represent object in the string format. It is used to represent object in string format. Okay. So now let me take one class and let me call toString method. Let's go to this src now. Here I'm taking one class with a name called student, new class student. I'm taking a class with a name called student. Now, in this class, I'm taking one main method. I'm taking main method. Here we can take some data also, ID and name. Int ID and string name. Now, here I can create object for student. Student S is equal to new student. I'm creating object. Here I am calling system.out.println s.toString. So toString is our class method, or toString is object class method. ToString is object class method. So let me run this program. Can you see what is the output? Yes. So it is printing object in the string format. So whether you call toString method or you don't call toString method, output is same. When I print any object or when I call toString method, the output will be same. Is it giving the same output? Yes, it is giving same output. That means whenever you print a object, internally it will call toString method available in object class. Sir, what is that output it is printing? We are not able to understand that output. So that is the predefined implementation of toString method. Our toString method is calling, our object class toString method is calling, object class toString method is calling. Now it is used to represent object in string format. When we print any object, when we print any object, or when we call toString method, by default it will call object class toString method. Object class toString method. We know method call hierarchy. What is this S? S is a variable holding student class object. First it will check in this student class, do we have toString method? No. When the method is not available in our class, then what JVM will do? Check in the parent. Does our class having any parent? Our class does not have any parent. When our class does not have any parent, then it will go for object. It will check for toString method in the object class. So object class having toString method, object class toString method logic is executing, we are getting this output. But is there any use of this output? No. How this output is printed? What is happening internally? ToString method implementation. ToString method implementation. How that ToString method is implemented in the object class? They have some logic, guys. That logic is public string ToString, public string ToString, Inside this, they are having this dot get class dot this dot get class dot get name. So this is used to get the class name. Can you see what is the output we are getting? Yes, this is the output we are getting. Output. How this output is coming? They are giving the class name and they are giving at the rate and they are giving some alphanumeric value. So this is the implementation of the toString. This dot get class dot get name. What is the purpose of get class dot get name? To get the name of the class. To get the name of the class. After getting the class name, they are doing concatenation. They are doing concatenation. So here it will give you class name. Our class name is student. We got the student as the output. After that, for that class name, they are appending at the rate. After that, integer dot to hex string. Integer dot to hex string of this dot hash code. Whatever the hash code is available, that hash code they converted into hexastring format. So this is the hexastring format of hash code. What is the hash code? What is a hash code? A unique number which is assigned for every object. That a hash code is converted into hexastring format. So that is the output we are getting. This is the default implementation of toString method available in the object class. But is there any use of that? Is there any use of that output? No. Now, object class is my parent. Object class is my parent. I don't like my parent method implementation. What I need to do? I don't like my parent method implementation. What should I do? I need to override. Okay. Now, whenever I am printing a object, I want to print a object to data, not this output. With this output, there is no use. With this output, there is no use. Now, here, when you print object or when you call toString method, by default, it is calling object class toString method. Object class toString method having this logic. This dot get class return. Method return type is string. So they are returning this dot get class dot get name plus at the rate of integer dot to hex string of this dot hash code. So this line of code is giving this output. So this code is available in our class. This code is available in the object class. This code is available in the object class. So whenever you print a object, then you are getting this output because you don't have a toString method in your class. Then object class toString method is called. But I don't need that output. I don't need that output. A faltu ka logic hai. So I don't need that output. I don't like my parent method implementation. Then what I can do? Override. What is overriding? What is overriding? Writing same method in the parent class and child class is called overriding. Okay, here I'm going to override that method. Method return type is string. Okay, I'm going to write public string to string. Public string to string. I will write system.out.println id plus name. ID plus name, or else here instead of this I will return ID plus name. That method has to return some string value. So whenever you call toString object, toString method, first it will check S is a variable holding student class object. S is a variable holding student class object. So it will check, do we have toString method in the student class? Yes. Then our method will be executed. If this method is not available, then object class method will be executed. Now I am overriding. Can you see? Can you see? 0 null. Why it is 0 null? Default values. We have not initialized. S dot ID is equal to 101. S dot name is equal to some value. some value. Click on this. Now, are we able to get the data? Earlier, we are not getting this output, but now we are getting this output. What is the reason? Earlier, object class toString method is executed. Now, our class toString method is executed. So, what is the toString? What is the purpose of toString? It is used to represent the object in the string format. When we print any object or when we call toString method, by default it will call object class toString method. So object class toString method implementation. They have implemented toString method like this. This dot get class dot get name at the rate integer dot 2 hex string of hash code. Most of the people will tell this is a hash code of the object. Is this a hash code of the object? No. So this is the logic which is giving this output. In the interview, they will ask you, what is this? Most of the people will answer, sir, it is printing hash code of the object. That is not the hash code. That is the toString format of the object. How we are getting this output? Object class having that logic. Hash code converted to hexastring. At the rate symbol is added. Class name it is printing. This dot get class dot get name plus at the rate integer dot 2 hex string of this dot hash code. We got this output. If you don't like this implementation, if we don't like this implementation, then we can override. We can override toString method. We can override toString method in our class. Yes. Now, can you say that I am overriding toString method in our class? Yes. So whenever you print object or when you call toString, both are same. Both are same. Yes. Well, now see here. System.out.println of yes. What will happen? What will happen here? ToString will be called. ToString will be called. Whether you can call or if you print the object, ToString will be called. So ToString available in our class or not available in our class? It is available in our class. So our method will be executed or object class method will be executed. Here our method will be executed. Here also our method will be executed. So whenever you are printing your object, calling toString is optional. Calling toString is optional. When you go for string class, string is overriding the toString method to print the content. If you see here, I'm taking string s is equal to new string of hi. New string of hi. System.out.println of yes. System.out.println of yes. Assume that I am not overriding this method. I am not overriding this method. Either yes or yes.toString. Both are same. Now see. Yeah. Okay. Let's run this program. Okay. For our object class toString is executing. For string object, string class toString is executing. String class toString method is printing content. Our class object is printing this toString format. So the why there is a difference for student object toString, string class toString. String class is overriding the toString method. If you want, you can also override that toString method. Do you know how to override? Public string toString. What is the return type? String. Return ID plus name. Whatever you want to return. Whatever you want to return, you can return. Now run this program. Yes, our object data is printing. String data is also printing. So this one we can take as an example for toString method. We need to remember that string class is already overriding toString method. String class is already overriding toString method. When we will go for overriding? When we will go for overriding? When we don't like parent method implementation, then we will go for overriding. In the real time also, in our classes, we are going to override toString method, which is used to print content of the object. ToString method should print content of the object. If you don't override the ToString method, then it will call object class ToString method. This is the logic available in object class ToString. Clear? Yes. Any questions? Good. Next one, hash code method. We understood ToString method available in the object class. If you don't like that implementation, you override and you write your logic. So in the ToString, generally, we will write the logic to print the content of the object. Perfect. Next one is hash code method. What is the next one? Hash code method. Hash code method is used to get a hash code of the object. Hash code method is used to get hash code of the object. What is the return type of a hash code? Integer. Integer. When we create object for a class, then JVM will assign one unique hash code for every object. When we create object for a class, JVM will assign one unique hash code for every object. Using a hash code method, we can get a hash code of the object. Using hash code method, we can get hash code of the object. Okay, see here. I have my student object. Now here I'm writing system.out.println s.hashcode. Okay, now tell me what will happen in the line number 12 and what will happen in the line number 13. Am I calling the ToString? Is it mandatory to call, or it will call directly when I print the object? It will call directly when you print the object. System.out.println of yes. Internally it will call ToString. I am already overriding. So our class ToString will be executed. What is this? What I am doing here? System.out.println s.hashcode. So hash code is available in our class. Hash code is not available in our class. Not available in our class. If it is not available in our class, what it will do? Object class. In the object class, do we have a hash code method? Yes. What is the return type of the hash code method? Integer. When we create object for a class, then JVM will assign one unique hash code for every object. That is a number. Now, using a hash code method, we can get a hash code of the object. If you don't want to call object class a hash code method, we can override. If we don't want to execute object class hash code method, then we can override hash code method in our class. That means for my object, I want to return my own hash code. I don't want to go for JVM hash code. I want to return my own hash code. Can you tell me how can we do that? Public int hash code. Return some 10. Or return ID. Whatever the ID is available for the student, that student ID I will call as the student hash code. Now execute this. 101 John. This is ToString output. This is hash code output. So if you don't override this method, object class hash code will be called, that will return the hash code generated by the JVM. When you don't want to execute your parent class methods, then you can go for override. I am overriding ToString method and I am overriding hash code method. Able to follow this? What is the purpose of ToString and hash code? What is the purpose of ToString and hash code? ToString is used to represent object data. ToString is used to represent object data. Hash code method is used to get a hash code of the object. Hash code of the object. If you don't want to execute object class a hash code method, then we can override a hash code method in our class. So like this, we can override hash code method in our class. Like this. I am overriding. Perfect. So toString completed, hash code also completed. Then what is the next method? Equals method. There is a method called equals method. What is the purpose of equals method? It is used to compare one object with the another object. It will take object as a parameter. What is the return type of equals method? Equals method is returning Boolean value. Equals method is returning Boolean value. Okay. Equals method is used to compare objects. Equals method is used to compare object. By default, equals method will compare content or will compare address. That means it is going to compare hash code of the object. Object class equals method will compare address of the object. I don't want to compare the address. I want to compare the content. If you don't like super class method implementation, then you need to override. So object equals method is used to compare one object with another object and returns Boolean value. Object class equals method will compare address of the objects, not content. Object class equals method will compare address of the object, not content. See here. Can I take a constructor for a class, guys? Yes. Can I take a parameterized constructor? Integer ID comma string name. So can we initialize that data? This dot ID is equal to ID. This dot name is equal to name. Here I am passing 101 comma some John. 101 comma John. Student S is equal to new student 101 comma John. Okay. So can I say that there are two objects available? Yes, there are two objects available. System.out.println s1 dot equals to s2. I am calling s1 dot equals to s2. What will be the output? Output will be true or false? False. Why? So whenever I create the object, for this object one address will be generated. For this object one address will be generated. When I execute this s1 dot equals of s2, it is comparing address. It is returning false. Content is same. Both objects are having the same content. ID is 101, name is John. But what it is comparing? Address. Suppose if I go for s1 double equals to s2, if s1 double equals to s2, what will happen? True or false? Come on. True or false? False. Why false? This will also compare address of the object. This will also compare address of the object. But let me go for string s3 is equal to new string of hi. String s4 is equal to new string of hi. Okay, here I am going to write system.out.println s3 dot equals s4. Here what will be the output? Here true will be the output. Why true? Why it is comparing content here? Why it is comparing address here? String class is overriding equals method. Our student class is not overriding equals method. When you call s1 dot equals of s2, object class equals method is executed. Object class equals method will compare address of the object. No two objects will have the same address. That's why it is giving the output as a false value. When I use double equals operator, here also same. Here also false. Compares address. Here also same. False. Compares address. Okay. Here it is true. Why? Compares content of objects. Compares content of the object. So here I am calling equals only. Here also I am calling equals only. But what is the difference? Here object class toString method is executing. Here string class toString method is executing. String people overriding the equals method to compare content of the object. Are you getting my point? Yes. Yes. Guys, these all are interview questions. What is the difference between object class equals method, string class equals method, when we need to override the toString method, when we need to override the hash code method, when we need to override the equals method, when we need to override the equals method? Now, my requirement is there. My requirement is there. I have created two objects. I created two objects. If a content of the object is same, it should return true. It should return true. Then what should I do? We need to override the equals method. What is overriding? Writing same method in the parent class and in the child class is called as overriding. Overriding. My parent is the object. My parent already having the equals method, but that equals method will compare. That equals method will compare address, but I want to compare content. So I don't like my parent method implementation. Then I need to write my own logic by comparing content. Okay. Now in the IDE, the beauty is you can override directly. Source, what is this? Generate hash code and equals. Click on OK. Now this is the logic which is used to compare content of the object. This is the logic which is used to compare content of the object. And when you are overriding hash code method, we need to override. Whenever you are overriding equals method, we need to override hash code. What is the purpose of a hash code? What is the purpose of this hash code? To give the hash code of the object. What is the purpose of equals? To compare the objects. Object class equals method will compare address. Our class equals method will compare content. Okay. Now let us execute this program. Let us execute this program. What it is coming now? What it is coming now? True. Here in the equals method we are getting true, but here we are getting false. Here we are getting true. So why we are getting first output as true? I'm overriding equals method. When I override the equals method, what I am doing? When I'm overriding equals method, what I am doing? Am I comparing address? Am I comparing content? I'm comparing content. In the interview, they may ask this question. Can you write the logic to compare content of two objects? Can you write the logic to compare content of two objects? Okay, in that scenario, we need to override equals method and we need to override hash code method. See here, how I am overriding? Am I writing the logic or I am generating the code? How I am generating that code? Right click, source, generate, hash code and equals. Click on generate. Code is generated. Hash code method is generated and equals method is generated. See, this represents a current class object and this is another object. Now if you see S1 dot equals S2. S1 is a current class object. S2 is the parameter object. Okay. If this is equal to object, return true. Okay. Object is that means current S1 and S2. This represents S1. OBJ represents S2. What they are checking first? Address. Both variables are pointing to same address or not. If both objects are pointing to same address, they are returning true. Both objects are same. Then after they are checking if OBJ is equal to null. If this parameter object is null, no need to compare anything. Both are not same. This is one object. OBJ is a null value. Then directly they are returning false value. Here they are checking address. This means S1 object. S2 means OBJ. I'm calling like this. S1 dot equals of S2. S2 object I am comparing S1 object I am comparing with S2 object. If both objects address is same, both are same. If object S2 is null, both are not same. Okay. If get class not equal to obj dot get class, if the class is not equals to same, if both objects class is not same, then also both are not same. So first they are checking these three conditions. Okay. If address is same, true. If second object is null, then false. If both objects class is not same, then also false value. Then after this is called typecasting. Whatever the object we are passing, that object is converted to student object. Current class ID, if not equal to that second object ID, then false. If name not equal to null, and if the name not equal to null, return false. If name equals to, this name represents current class name and this name represents S2 name. If both names are not equal to same, then return false. Here actually content comparison is there. Here actually content comparison is available. One class object they are comparing with the another class object. If I don't override the equals method, what is the problem? If I don't override the equals method, what is the problem? Object class equals method will be executed. What is the problem? If object class equals method is executed, it will check the address. I don't want to check the address. I want to compare the content. Then override the equals method. Are you able to understand this logic? No? Yes. Just once read line by line. S1 double equals to S2. Sorry. This means which class object? Current class object. S1. S2 means parameter object. No, they are checking both objects address is same or not. If both objects address is same, that means both variables are pointing to same object. Then it will return true. Got it? Guys, here it is equals to S1 double equals to S2. That is the logic. Yes, false only. That's why we are not, it is not returning this. If a condition satisfied, it will return true, but condition will not satisfy that. Condition will not satisfy. So here I am calling equals method. What is the syntax? S1 dot equals to S2. So for equals method, which object we are passing as a parameter? S2 object. Can I say this variable will hold S2 object? Yes. What is the meaning of this? Current class. What is current class? S1. S1 dot equals to S2. S2 is coming as a parameter to equals method. So this obj variable will hold S2. Obj variable will hold S2. This variable will hold S1. They are checking S1 double equals to S2. What is the meaning of double equals? Address. If address is same, this method will return true. No need to compare the content also. No need to compare the content also if address is same. If address is same, what is the meaning? Two variables are pointing to single object. No need to compare. No need to compare. They will decide that if address is same, both objects are same, they will return true. But in our scenario, This condition will satisfy or this condition will not satisfy? Will not satisfy. If condition not satisfied, then it will go to second condition. What they are checking in the second condition? S2 double equals to null. S2 is a null object or S2 is a object with some data? Object with some data. So this condition will satisfy or condition will not satisfy? Will not satisfy. First condition not satisfied. Second condition also not satisfied. Then directly they are going for third condition. What they are checking in the third condition? Class name. They are getting the class name of S1 object and they are getting the class name of S2 object. So class names are equal or not equal? Equal. Both objects belongs to same class. But what is the condition they are checking? Student not equals to student. Student not equals to student. Condition will satisfy or will not satisfy? Will not satisfy. This condition will not satisfy. This condition will not satisfy. This condition also will not satisfy. Then what they are doing? Typecasting. This is called typecasting. So it is taking superclass object. Superclass object is converted into subclass object. The process of converting one object into another object is called as typecasting. We have not discussed that yet. We'll discuss in the next session. It is a typecasting. Superclass object they are converting into subclass object. Once it is converted, then what they are checking here? S1.id not equals to S2.id. S1.id not equals to S2.id. Condition will satisfy or condition will not satisfy? Both IDs are same na. Both IDs are same na. Condition will satisfy or condition will not satisfy? Will not satisfy. Then if name is null, what if the current class name S1 dot name equal to null? S1 object having the name or does not have the name? Have the name. So condition will satisfy or condition will not satisfy? Will not satisfy. This condition will not satisfy. Then what they are checking? If this condition not satisfy, else if name not equal to here S1 dot name not equals to S2 dot name, not operator. S1 dot name not equals to S2 dot name. Names are same, names are not same, same. So this condition will satisfy, will not satisfy, will not satisfy. Directly it is going to return output as true. ID is the same, name is the same. That means both objects are same. It is returning true. So in this program, only this output we are getting. It is returning true. Able to understand? Now check this. Equals method. What is the purpose of equals method? Equals method is used to compare the objects. Object class equals method will compare address. I don't want that. Then override. What I am doing? Comparing the content. You need to understand. This means S1. OBJ means S2. Now read this line. You will get more clarity then. Understand, guys? You need to write that logic. You should understand how to write this logic. In the interview, they will ask to write it. Either this or directly ID, directly ID represents current class object. Yes. Okay. Fine, guys. So with this, we understood what is toString method and what is hash code method and what is equals method. Object class to already we discussed when we are working with the strings. Already we discussed object class equals method will compare address. String class equals method will compare content. In string class equals method overridden to compare content of objects. That's why in above program for strings we are getting true as output. But for student class it is checking address. Hence we are getting false as output. If we want to compare the address, if we want to compare the content for the student objects also, we need to override like below. If we want to compare content of our student objects, then we need to override like below. In the IDE, directly right click source to generate toString and equals. It is going to compare. Here, what will be the output? True. Now it will be true. Earlier it will be false. Why earlier it is false? Compares address. Now we are overriding now. Then what it is going to give? True. Now it will give true. Compares content. Overridden. But here address. Double equals operator will compare always address. Default equals method will compare address. But I am overriding. That's it. Okay. So tell me, what is hash code? What is equals? What is a toString? These are our methods or predefined methods. Predefined hash code will return hash code of the object. Predefined equals method will compare address of the object. Predefined toString method will print string format. I don't like these three methods implementation. Then you can override. What is overriding? Writing the same method in the superclass and subclass is called as overriding. Perfect. They are overriding that. They are generating their own hash code. Unique integer number, yes. They are generating internally their own unique number. Right. If you see in the string class also hash code method is available. That means they are overriding that. They are generating their own hash code. Instead of JVM generating the hash code, string class will generate that hash code. Overriding. Okay. Next one, guys. There is a method called getClass method. There is a method called getClass method. It is used to get runtime instance of the class. It is used to get the runtime instance of the class. This method is used to get runtime instance of class. So whatever the object is available, your object class you can get. Already we have a class. From the class we are creating the object. From that object you can get the class. For that we are going for getClass method. Now let me remove all these things. Okay. I don't need this as well. Yes. Just I have a class with a main method. Now I'm going to create student s is equal to new student. Now s dot get a class. S dot get class. What is the return type? Class object. What is the return type? Class object. Okay. Now system dot out dot println class dot get a name. Class dot get name. What is the meaning of that? Getting the name of the class. So get class dot get name. Get class dot get name. You already seen here. ToString method is doing the same thing. What is our ToString method is doing here? Get class dot get name. What is the meaning of get class dot get name? It is getting the name of the class. It is getting the name of the class. That means whenever you have your object, now s dot get class, what is the return type? Class. Class I'm storing into a variable. Variable dot get name. What it is giving? Name of the class. I can write this in the single line also. S dot get class dot get name. S dot get class dot get name. Here I am calling this method. This method is giving the class object. Then by using that class object, I'm calling the get name. Instead of that, you can call in the single line. This is called method chaining. This concept is called as method chaining. I'm calling this whatever the output this method is giving. On that output, I am calling the get name. Okay, first here what I am doing? Get class. What is the output? Class. Using that variable, again I am calling get name. And whatever the get class I am calling, that method is giving that output. That output I am storing into a variable. Using that variable, I am calling another method. But here what I am doing? Directly I am calling. Without storing into a variable, directly I am calling. What is this concept called? Method chaining. I'm calling one method. Based on the return type of that method, I'm calling another method. That is called method chaining. Okay. Now, what is the output here? What is the output here? Student. What is the output here? Student. Okay. So I'm getting student. Guys, there is another method here. Class dot new instance. Class dot new instance. This is another approach to create object for the class. As of now, how we are creating object for the class? By using new operator. This is second approach to create an object for a class in the Java. This is second approach to create an object for a class in the Java. Getting my point? Yes. I am having an object. Based on the object, I am getting the class by using get class. Using the class, I am calling new instance. New instance will return one object. System.out.println that object. System.out.println of object. See this? What is this? ToString representation of which object? Student object. So here one student object is created. Here another student object is created. In the interview, they will ask this question. How many ways we can create an object for a class in the Java? Now you know two ways. What are those two ways? By using new operator, by using class. By using class also we can create the object. There are 5-6 ways available to create the object for a class. But currently we know only two ways. One is by using new operator. Second one is by using new instance method. Class dot new instance method. Here I can say object creation. Here also I can say second approach to create object. Second approach to create object. That's it. Get class. What is the meaning of this get class? Getting the class object. And see here, if you go to this, class object, class dot get methods. That means what are the methods available in your class? This is basically a reflection concept. By using this class object, you can get what variables available in your class, what methods available in your class, what constructors available in your class. Your complete class information you can get back. Your complete class information you can get back by using this class object. So basically in the reflection API, we will use this get class concept. I have a class. It is currently my class, student class. I know what is there, but let's talk about predefined class. There is a string class available. There is a string class available. I want to understand what are the methods available in the string class. Okay, if you see, if you create string yes dot, can you see all the methods available? Yes or no? Can you see all the methods available in the string class? How this IDE getting all the methods of the string and displaying? Internally, IDE is using reflection API. It is loading that class. It is getting all the methods of the class. So that is the purpose of this get class method. Now you understand the meaning. What is the runtime instance of a class? This method is used to get runtime instance of a class. So once you have the class, you can get all the methods, all the variables of that class and everything. This dot get class dot get name, method chaining to get class name. Method chaining to get the class name. What I am doing here? I'm creating object. What I am doing here? Get class. Getting class information of this object. S is a object. Object belongs to a class. That a class information I want to get. Then you will go for get class. Once you got the class object, can you create the object for that? By using new instance. What is this new instance? Second approach to create object for a class. Second approach to create object for a class. That's it. Get class. Now, again, we will talk about this concept in the reflection API. Reflection concept is available. In that reflection, we are going to understand what is this class, how to get the methods of the class, how to get the variables of the class. Got my point? Yes. Next one. There. For what? For this object, huh? No, this is a predefined method, right? This we are calling predefined method. That method is not expecting anything. Control 1. See here, he is asking what is the shortcut to know? Class dot new instance. I don't know what is the return type of the method. Keep your cursor at the end of the line. Control 1, enter. Control 1, control plus 1. I gave the shortcut video. In that I have explained that shortcut. Control plus 1, enter. It will store the return type into a variable directly. See here. My cursor is available. Control 1, enter. I got the return type. That's it. Right. Okay, fine guys. So with this, what we understood? Get class method. What is the meaning of get class? It is used to get runtime instance of a class. Once you got the runtime instance, you can play with that. You can create the object. You can see what methods are available. You can see what variables are available. You can see what constructors are available. So there are so many methods available here. We can call those methods and we can understand the information about our class. Okay, cool. Next one, there is a method called clone method, guys. Observe very carefully. There is a method called clone method. What is the purpose of clone method? It is used to create a duplicate object. It is used to create the duplicate object. This method is used to create This method is used to create duplicate object for the given object. It is used to create duplicate object for the given object. Can I call this is the third approach to create the object for a class? First approach by using new operator. Second approach by using instance method. Third approach by using cloning. Third approach is called cloning. What is a cloning? Xerox copy. Cloning is a Xerox copy. I have one object with the data. I don't want to modify my existing object. I want to create a copy to do the experiment. I want to create a copy to do the experiment. The process of creating duplicate object for the existing object is called cloning. In order to perform the cloning, there is a method called clone method. Getting my point? Yes. This method is used to create duplicate object for the given object. Let us see. Let me remove everything. Student S is equal to new student. Object creation. Remove this. Now I am doing S dot to clone. What is the method I am calling? S dot to clone. Yes. S dot clone. Now let me do system dot out dot println yes, and here system dot out dot println clone. Okay. Run the program. Wait. Failed. Read the error. Exception in thread main java.lang. What is the exception? Clone not support exception. Cloning is a special process. Cloning is a special treatment. JVM should give that facility. Is JVM giving that? Are you able to clone the object? Come on, man. Are we able to clone the object or we are not able to clone the object? We are not able to clone the object. Why? Because when you want to clone the object, your class should implement a clonable interface. What is a clonable? Marker interface. What is a marker interface? Interface with no methods. The interface which contains 0 methods is called marker interface. Then why do we need to implement that marker interface? JVM will give special treatment. Now see, public class student implements clonable. Now run this program. Yes. First object toString method is called. Second object toString method also called. Which one? We created duplicate. That means address will be different, right? So whatever the data is available, with that data you will create a new object. You can modify that content. Okay. Without touching the existing object, we want to do the experiment. That's why we are going for cloning. So if I want to do the cloning, what is mandatory? Implements a clonable. What is a clonable? What is a clonable? See here. This is predefined code. This is predefined code of the clonable. In which package it is available? Java.lang. Okay. See here. Read this definition. A class implements a clonable interface to indicate to the clone method that is legal for that method to take the field per field copy of the instance of that class. So this public interface clonable, author, no name, it is available from JDK 1.0. I opened predefined code of the clonable. Control, click on that interface name. See, hyperlink is coming, right? When I click on that hyperlink, it is opening .class file of the clonable. .class file of the clonable. It is predefined code. Okay. Similarly, let me go to exception. What is this? Public class exception extends throwable. Is it our class? It is a predefined class. It is predefined class. That means, can we see the code for the predefined classes also? Yes or no? We can see the code for predefined classes also. How I am able to see the code for the predefined class? By using control, click on that. Press the control button, click on that. Predefined code will be available. That means, what is the code that Sun Microsystem has written? Veracity has written. We can see that code also. By using this control. Press the control button, click on that. Hyperlink is coming. When I click on that, it is opening the code. It is opening the, we can see the predefined logic in the Java. Good. Yep. Now tell me, what is the cloning? This method is used to create duplicate object for the given object. If we want to perform cloning, that class should implement clonable interface. If we want to clone any object, then that class should implement clonable interface, which is marker interface. Now you may get a doubt, sir. When there are no methods available, why to implement? JVM is giving the special treatment. Now you understand. If I don't implement this interface, is it allowing me to clone? Is it allowing me to clone? If I implement, is it allowing me to clone? That means special treatment is there or not? When my class is getting special treatment, when I implement clonable, clonable is my interface or clonable is predefined interface? Clonable is predefined interface available in the JVM. Can we write our own marker interfaces? Yes, but there is no use. Why there is no use? Why there is no use? JVM cannot understand that. Whatever the marker interface you write, JVM cannot understand that. Okay, cloning. So the process of creating dummy duplicate object for the given object is called as cloning. This method is used to create duplicate object for the given object. If we want to clone any object, then that class should implement a cloner interface, which is marker interface. If your class implements clonable interface, then only JVM will allow you to clone the object. That is a special treatment given by the JVM. Good. When we need to go for cloning, I have one object. I don't want to disturb that. I want to do some experiment. Then I will go for cloning. I will create the duplicate object. Address of the objects will be same or different? Different, but content will be same, right? Exact copy it is going to create. So original object, cloned object. Whatever the data is available in the original object, same content will come to duplicate object. Then if you change the duplicate object, original object will be affected or will not be affected? Will not be affected because it is a Xerox copy. Good. So it is mandatory that you need to implement clonable interface. It is mandatory that you need to implement clonable interface. It is mandatory that you need to implement clonable interface when you want to do the cloning. Here we can say cloning. Now tell me, how many ways are there to create object for a class? Now 3 ways available. What are those 3 ways? One is by using new operator. Second one is by using new instance method. Another one is by using cloning. What is cloning? What is cloning? The process of creating duplicate object for the existing object is called cloning. But conditions apply. When you want to clone, your class should implement clonable. What is clonable? Marker interface. What is the marker interface? No methods. Marker interface nothing but no method. But why we need to implement? JVM will give special treatment. Okay. Now, with this we understood there are 3 ways available to create the object for a class in the Java. What is class? What is object? What is class? What is object? Class is a plan which will contain the variables and methods. What is object? Object is used to store the data. Once the class is available, we can create the object. Okay. How many ways? In how many ways we can create object for a class? As of now, yeah. As of now, we know three ways. What is that? Using new operator, using new operator, using new instance method, using clone method, using clone method. This is also one interview question. Using new operator, using new instance method, using clone method. Are you clear? Good. There is another method called finalize method. There is another method called finalize method. So when garbage collector is removing, when the garbage collector is removing object from the JVM, then it will call finalize method. So we have seen in normally in the jails, if any person got hang, punishment, hanging punishment will be there, right? Uri शिक्षा in Telugu. क्या बोलते हैं हिंदी में उसको हैंग करते हैं ना जेल फांसी हाँ. So a person has done a crime or he has done something wrong. Government decided that he should be hanged in the jail. When that person is going to hang in the jail, directly they are going to take from the room and will hang. Or your last wish को बोलते हैं. हाँ, what is your last wish? What is your last wish? Biryani, right? So that that court or that jailers will ask, by you are going to get hanged in another 10 minutes of time. What is your last wish? Similarly, when the garbage collector is removing the object from the JVM, iska last wish, it is going to call finalize method. Hey object, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Before I'm going to kill you, finalize method. I'm going to call finalize method. Finalize method is used to check, does that object having any references or not? If that object does not have any references, object will be killed from the JVM. Object will be removed from the JVM. JVM will allocate the memory. Garbage collector will deallocate the memory. So when garbage collector, we will talk more about the garbage collection. It is just a method. So we need to understand lot of story how the garbage collector working internally. When garbage collector removing any object from JVM, then it will call finalize method. When garbage collector removing any object from JVM, then it will call finalize method. It is also available in the object class. We'll talk more about this method in the garbage collection concept. So I am not talking about garbage collection now. We are talking about object class. In the object class, finalize method is available. So who will call that finalize method? Are we going to call, or JVM will call, garbage collector will call? Garbage collector will call. What is a garbage collector? What is a garbage collector? Garbage collector is used to remove unused objects or unreferenced objects from JVM heap area. So where the objects will be created? Objects will be created in the heap area. What is the meaning of object creation? Object creation means memory allocation. Object creation means memory allocation. Once memory is allocated, that object is used, that work is completed, then I am not using that object. When we are not using that object is called unused object. So when there is an unused object, garbage collector will come, will remove unused object. Before removing unused object, garbage collector will call a method called finalize method. Good. Yep. So what are the methods we have seen now? One is finalize method. Another one is clone method, equals method, hash code method, equals method, hash code method, toString method, get class method. How many methods are there? 6 methods are there. What about remaining 5 methods? What is that? One is notify, another one is notify all, wait method, three overloaded methods. 3 overloaded method. 0 parameter, 1 parameter, 2 parameters. So 3 plus 2, 5. 5 plus 6, 11. So total how many methods available in object class? Total 11 methods available in the object class. What are those 11 methods? Finalize method, clone method, equals method, hash code method, toString method, get class method. What is the purpose of a finalize method? What is the purpose of finalize method? It is used to, that method will be called by garbage collector when the object is removed from the memory. What is a clone method? It is used to create the duplicate object. If you want to clone, you need to implement clonable. Clonable is a marker interface. What is equals? It is going to compare address. I don't want to compare address. Then override to compare the content. Object class equals method, string class equals method. What is the difference? Object class equals method will compare address. String class equals method will compare content. What is the hash code method? To get the hash code of the object. What is the toString method? What is the toString method? It is used to represent object string format. Object class toString will execute get class dot get name at the rate hash code in the hexa format. I don't want that. I want to print the content of the object. If I want to print the content of the object, what I need to do? I need to override toString method. I need to override toString method. Then what is get class? What is get class? To get the runtime instance of the class. Why we need to get the class? To check what are the methods available, to check what are the variables available. We can create the object also. How many ways we can create the object for a class? As of now, 3. What are those 3 ways? By using new operator, by using new instance method, by using clone. In which class new instance method available? In the class. In which class new instance method available? In the class. So here guys, this class is different. This class is different. What is this class? What is this class? It is a keyword to create the class. This is a predefined class. This is a predefined class with a name called class. It is a little confusing, right? So this is a keyword. This is keyword to create class in Java. This is predefined class. This is predefined class available in java.lang package. What is this? Object. What is this object? This is also predefined class available in java.lang package, default to super, default parent for all Java classes. Default parent for all the Java classes. Perfect. In which class this new instance method is available? In this class. In this class. This is a predefined class. This class contains new instance method available in class. In class, that is a predefined. So this is used to create a class. It is a keyword. This is a predefined class available in lang package. New instance method available in the class. It is used to create. It is used to create object for a class. Object for a class. What is this object? This is also a predefined class available in lang package, default parent for all Java classes. It contains 11 methods. Every Java class can access object class methods. Why every Java class can access object class method? It is parent. Subclass can access the properties of superclass. Got it? Yep. Just to read these notes once, what we discussed today. We are discussing about java.lang.object class. What is this? Object is a predefined class available in java.lang package. Object class will act as superclass for all the classes in Java either directly or indirectly. If your class does not have any superclass, then object class will become direct superclass. If your class having any superclass, then object class will become indirect superclass. Object class having 11 methods. Those 11 methods are by default available for every Java object. See the methods: clone, equals, finalize, get class, hash code, toString, notify, notify all, wait. Last 5 methods will be used in multi-threading concept. Okay, what is a toString method? What is toString method? It is used to print the object in string format. When we print any object or when we call toString method, by default it will call object class toString method. Object class toString method implementation. This is the logic. What is the output? Class name at the rate hash code in the hexa format. If we don't like this implementation, then we can override toString method in our class like below. Why we are overriding the toString method? To print content of the object. Basically, toString method is used to, we will override toString method to print content of object. We will override the toString method to print content of the object. String class is already overriding toString method. If you want to print content of your object, you need to override the toString method. Then what is this hash code method? What is the hash code? What is the hash code? When we create object for a class, JVM will assign one unique hash code for every object. Using a hash code method, we can get hash code of the object. If you don't want to execute object class hash code method, then we can override hash code method in our class. Okay, public class student, ID and name. So this is main method. I am overriding toString method. I am overriding hash code method. Now, what is equals method? What is the purpose of equals method? Equals method is used to compare one object with another object and returns Boolean value. If objects are same, it will return true. If objects are not same, it will return false. If object is the same, if objects are same, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false value. If objects are same, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false value. Object class equals method will compare address of the object, not content. See here, when I'm calling s1 dot content is same. Both objects are having the same content. But when I call equals, it is returning false because comparing address. When I use double equals, always it will compare address only. But when I go for string, equals method is comparing what? Content. Why? Student class is comparing with the address, string class comparing content. String is overriding that. In string class equals method overridden to compare the content. If I want to compare the content of my objects, then I need to override equals method. Okay. Then what is the get class method? What is get class method? This method is used to get runtime instance of the class. Why we need to get the runtime instance of the class? To get the class methods, to get the class variables and all, we can go for runtime instance of the class. Okay, object is equal to class dot new instance. It is a second approach to create the object for a class. What is a clone method? This method is used to create duplicate object for the given object. I have some object with the data. I don't want to disturb that. I want a new object with the same data to do my experiment. If we want to clone any object, then that class should implement clonable interface, which is marker interface. If your class implements a clonable interface, then only JVM will allow you to clone the object of that class. Got it? Fine. So here I am doing cloning. Another approach to create the object. create object for a class. All right. In how many ways we can create object for a class? As of now, 3. What are those 3? New operator, new instance method, clone method. In future, other approaches also we are going to understand. Okay. What is the finalize method? When garbage collector removing any object from JVM, then it will call finalize method. Garbage collector is used to remove unused objects or unreferenced objects from the JVM heap area. Right. We have discussed about these methods. These 5 methods we will discuss in the multi-threading. What is a class? This is keyword to create a class in Java. What is this class? It is a predefined class available in java.lang package. What is a new instance? New instance is the method available in the class. It is used to create object for class. What is object? It is a predefined class available in java.lang package. Default parent for all Java classes. It contains 11 methods. Every Java class can access object class methods by default. By default. If we don't like those methods, we can override them if you want to execute your own logic. Good. What is the difference between overloading and overriding? Writing the same method with different parameters in the same class is called overloading. What is overriding? Writing the same method in the super class and in the subclass is called as overriding. Is this clear? Good. Congratulations. Finally, we completed our oops. Yes. Yes, I will explain typecasting and method chaining also. Prakash, I will cover that as well. Then guys, almost we spent more than 20 days. More than 20 days we spent for oops concepts. Okay, so can we see what are the concepts that we have learnt in the oops as of now? First we discussed about what is procedural oriented programming language. Procedural oriented programming language, we will call it as a POP. We'll call it as a POP. Then we have learned what is object oriented programming language. Object oriented programming language, it is OOP. Then we discussed about classes, then objects, classes, objects, then variables. What are the variables? Instance variables, static and local. Instance, static and local variables. We discussed about methods, method, parameters and return types. How to write a method and how to write the parameter for a method. How to return a value from the method. Instance methods and static methods. So instance methods will be called by using object. Static methods will be called by using class name. Then after we discussed about constructors. What is a constructor? What is a constructor? Default constructor, zero param constructor and parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. Default constructor means JVM will add it. Compiler. When you don't write a constructor, compiler will add a constructor for your class. That is called default. If you write a constructor without parameter, zero param constructor. If you write a constructor with parameter, it is called parameterized constructor. And we discussed about constructor overloading. We discussed about constructor overloading. What is a constructor overloading? Come on. Writing a two constructor with different parameters in the same class is called constructor overloading. Constructor name should be same as class name. Constructor should not have a return type. And we discussed about this keyword. What is this keyword? This keyword represents current object, current class object. This keyword. We discussed about access modifiers. What are the access modifiers? Public available, private available, protected available, and default modifiers are available. After that, we discussed about encapsulation.
What is encapsulation? The process of combining the variables and methods as one unit is called as encapsulation. We discussed about setters and getters, setter methods and getter methods. What is the purpose of setter methods and getter methods? Setter methods are used to set the data, getter methods are used to get the data. So when our variables are private, we cannot access them outside directly. To provide the reusability, we are going for setter methods and getter methods. Then after we discussed about inheritance, we discussed about inheritance. What is inheritance? The process of extending the properties from one class to another class is called inheritance, parent class and child class. So what is the advantage of going for inheritance? Code reusability, inheritance, and we discussed about inheritance types, method execution order in the inheritance. Always it will check in the child class. If the child class does not have, then it will check in the parent. If it is not available in the parent, it will check in the object. Method execution order. Method execution order with respect to inheritance. With respect to inheritance. Then we discussed about polymorphism. If one object is exhibiting multiple behavior, then it is called as polymorphism. So polymorphism is divided into two types, static polymorphism and dynamic polymorphism. For that we discussed about method overloading and method overriding. So what is method overloading? Writing the same method writing the method with different parameters with the same name in the same class is called as method overloading. What is the method overriding? Writing a method in the parent class and in the child class is called method overriding. After that we discussed about concrete methods and abstract methods. Concrete methods and abstract methods. What is the difference between concrete methods and abstract methods? Method which contains a body is called concrete method. Method which does not contain the body is called abstract method. What is abstraction? Hiding unnecessary data, providing useful data is called abstraction. For that we discussed about interfaces. What is interface? What is interface? Interface contains only abstract methods up to 1.7. From 1.8 you can write concrete methods also. We will discuss that in the 1.8 futures. Now, can I create an object for the interface? Can I create object for the interface? No, but we can create the implementation class for your interface. Once interface is created, anybody can provide the implementation. One interface can have multiple implementation classes. Can one interface implement another interface? No. Why? Implementing means overriding. One interface cannot implement the another interface. Can one interface extend another interface? Yes, one interface can extend the another interface. Interface reference variable can hold implementation object. Can method take interface as a parameter? Can method take interface as a parameter? Yes. Can method return a interface? What is the meaning of that? Wherever there is an interface, that means you need to understand implementation class. If a method is expecting interface as a parameter, that method will expect interface implementation class object as a parameter. When method is having interface as a return type, that means that method will return interface implementation class object. Now, what is abstract class? What is abstract class? The class which contains both concrete methods and abstract methods is called as abstract class. Interface will have constructor or will not have constructor? Will not have constructor. But for abstract class, constructor will be available. So when you know partial implementation for the class, go for abstract class. When you don't know any implementation, go for interface. Okay. When the abstract class constructor will execute, when the abstract class constructor will execute, when we go for child class object, then it will execute. Then what is a marker interface? What is a marker interface? The interface which does not have any method, it is called as a marker interface. Okay. What is a functional interface? The interface which contains only one method, that is called a functional interface. When they introduced in the Java 1.8 version. Now, after this, we discussed about blocks. In the Java, there are blocks available. What are the blocks available? Instance block, static block. What is the difference between instance block and static block? Come on, man. When the object is created, then instance block will execute. When the class is loaded, static block will execute. Main method static block, which will execute first. Static block. Constructor and instance block, which will execute first. Instance block will be executed. We discussed about what is static control flow, and we discussed about instance control flow, static control flow, and instance control flow. What is the static control flow and instance control flow? First, static variable, static method, static block. Execution, block, method, variable. Can I access instance variable in the static method? Not directly, by using object. Can I access static variable in the static block? Yes. Static means a class, instance means object. Then after we discussed about object class, we discussed about object class. What is object class? Object class is predefined class available in the Java, that is a default super class for all the classes available in the Java. How many methods available in the object class? There are 11 methods available. Can you tell me what are those 11 methods? Get class, equals, hash code, toString, finalize, clone, notify, wait method available for 3 times. If you don't like those methods, then we can override the methods. What is cloning? Creating a duplicate object for the class. Creating a duplicate object is called as a cloning. Got it? Why we need to clone? I don't want to touch the existing object. I want to do some experiment on the new object. Then we will go for clone. Can we directly clone any object? No. Conditions apply. What are the conditions? What are the conditions? What are the conditions, guys? That class should implement clonable interface. Why we need to implement clonable? It is a marker interface. If your class implement clonable interface, JVM will understand that your class is a VIP. JVM will give special functionality to perform the cloning. Right. So 11 methods we understood. What is the purpose of get class? What is the purpose of get class? If you want to get the class methods, class variables and all, you can go for runtime instance of that. Okay, fine guys. So, I missed one thing. Okay. Yes, final keyword. What is the purpose of a final keyword? Final is a predefined keyword available in the Java. I can use the final keyword at 3 places. What are the 3 places? Variable level, method level, class level. If I use the final at the variable level, then what will happen? That variable value cannot be changed. When we should declare variable as a final? When we need to declare variable as a final, we don't want to allow anybody to modify the value of the variable. Then go for final. When we need to go for final method, when we don't want to allow method overriding, then we will go for final. When to go for final class? I don't want to allow anybody to extend my class properties. Then I will go for final keyword. Good. See, man, how much content we learnt in 20 days. Super keyword, one small topic is there. We'll discuss that. How everything is there in my brain. You should also have that confidence. When you go for interview, if anybody asks about OOPS, how many days we discussed? 20 days. At least 30 minutes you should be able to explain about the OOPS. Okay, whatever the summary I have written, see, almost 30 topics we learnt in the OOPS. If you are good with OOPS, then you can play with Java. If you are good in OOPS, you can play with Java. OOPS are difficult or not difficult? Thoda confusion again. Confusion is there or confusion is not there? If you practice, confusion will not be there. And going every day, even 10 years programmer, 15 years programmer also, who is writing the code, they have to code by using OOPS concepts only. If you write a program, class is required, variable is required, method is required, constructor is required, object creation is required, variable initialization, method overloading, method overriding, interfaces, abstract classes, all these are routine concepts. These are routine concepts. People will leave Java saying that I'm not able to understand OOPS. Most of the people who will leave Java course after joining the Java, they will leave the Java, they will go for other course because they don't understand OOPS. But now, easy or difficult? Easy. OOPS are easy. Good. Are you confident? Yes, fine guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll continue in the tomorrow session. Fine. Please practice OOPS. So, do you want to take 1 day rest for practicing or shall I continue tomorrow? Continue. Huh? Take rest. Huh? Test. Exam. Can I prepare conduct exam tomorrow? Yes. Chalo. Tomorrow we'll have a exam on the OOPS. No? Conduct exam on Sunday, na? Sunday. Yeah, next one, I need to explain a simple concept to packages, which will take just 30 to 40 minutes of time. After packages, I need to explain exception handling. So once we are good with exception handling, then collections, another big bull. So that will take a lot of time again. Collections is also a difficult topic, and not difficult, but lengthy topic. Hash map, linked hash map, that hash set, tree set, hash table, properties, array list, linked list, vector. Again, that is a big pull. Once the collections is completed, then we are good. The remaining topics are 1-2 days topics only. Only connections may take 1 week of time. Okay? Chalo guys, thank you. Yeah, I will explain the super. Super is nothing, man. In the subclass, if you want to access superclass method, superclass variable, superclass constructor, we can use it. I will explain that. Good, guys. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.